Straw Hut Media.
Reader beware, you're in for a scare. Hi everybody and happy Halloween. Welcome to a special episode of Release Date Rewind, a podcast that celebrates movies and TV shows on their milestone anniversaries. I'm your host, Mark J. Parker, a film lover and TV lover and filmmaker and TV maker. And thank you for listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thanks to the Straw Hut Media Network, or maybe you're listening on the You Run Podcast Network, or maybe you're watching on YouTube. Boo! Our spooky holiday is coming to a close now, wah wah, but we are keeping the creeps going, and I have a great special guest in this first part of a two-part episode that will give you Goosebumps. It's the 30th anniversary of the Fox TV series, which premiered in October '95, based on the world-famous R.L. Stine books, of course. And here with me is a very talented, very kind man whose work many of us in my generation, and even younger, have admired, loved, and worshipped. Here is the original Goosebumps cover illustrator, Tim Jacobus, to talk about his amazing career. So it's time to rewind. I'm so honored to truly have you, Tim, because like many people that you probably talk to all the time, I mean, your work is, I know this word is overused now, but it truly is iconic.
Well, thank you. It's very nice of you to say.
I mean, you are a true artist. You're a great guy. We met for a few minutes back at 90s Con, and I know you do all the conventions now. You're hitting so many. How many do you think you've gone to just this year? Do you know?
22 maybe?
Wow.
Yeah. This was a busy year.
That's
was a
great.
busy year.
What do you like about the cons? Obviously, it's a great way to meet fans and make some money selling your prints, which everybody who's watching, I got a signed Tim Jacobus print. But what do you love about it? Is it a nice way to connect with people?
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's first. It's nice to. So I've been doing this for a lot of years, and it's a solitary endeavor. You sit behind the desk and you do it by yourself. And back in the 90s, I was creating all this artwork. And at that time, you were in elementary school or in middle school. So it's not like we were going to have any chance encounters along the way. So going to the cons now, you guys are grown up. We can have conversations that we couldn't have back in the 90s. And it gets me out and forces me to look people in the eye and be social and have conversations.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, because you designed all these covers. How many Goosebumps covers were there? Over 100 that you worked on. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct. I did over 100. I don't know how many there are altogether.
Right. Yeah, because there's
it's
even more,
it's a crazy
right?
number.
Now, and you designed when you illustrated the covers you worked on. I mean, it's just you, right? Or did you have a team with you, an assistant, or it's you?
No, it was me. I worked with an art director at Scholastic, just one, which is rare. Usually there's a couple of people who are, working with you. But no, it was me and one other person. Due to the fact that we were going so quickly to produce these, there wasn't a lot of messing around. It was, submit some sketches. She would take them to the editors. They'd pick one. I'd sit down and do the painting. I'd turn it in. They'd go, yeah, that looks good. Start the next one.
Wow.
So it was really kind of a assembly line. I don't, not really an assembly line, but they were coming in back to back to back.
Just a rhythm. Wow,
yes.
That is so not so. So
I'm going to use that rhythm.
Right,
I like that. That
a rhythm back and
than...
forth, right? Just okay. Next. That's amazing, Tim. Now, so then it sounds like they didn't really have many notes for you, like because as a designer, I'm sure for other people, you send something and it's like, okay, that's good. Can you move that? But did they kind of just
no? And that was really due to two things had to do with that. First off, we're working traditionally back then, and to make changes, we'll make them, but they're going to take time as compared to today, right, where we have digital art and a change. I can move stuff all around all the time. Once that painting gets approved and we start working, we're not moving stuff easily. So you got to really want it. And it's going to take at a minimum, maybe 3 day turnaround. One for you to ship the painting back to me, one for me to do the art, and then another one for me to ship it back to you. So you had to really want that change
Wow.
to pull it out of production.
Yeah.
So no, not a lot of notes. It was, I mean, for from an artist point of view, that was wonderful.
I believe it,
Everyone,
right?
every artist thinks everything they put down is gold,
Yeah.
and it's not. And but to not have a lot of people second guessing what you're doing was just wonderful. And I got real spoiled because Goosebumps went on for 10 years. So
Yeah.
10 years of nobody telling me I'm not any good. That's not good for your head.
Oh
You,
my
you need
gosh.
people to tell you you're not that good once in
Yeah.
a while.
I know, because then I'm sure when that ended, you're like, okay. And then you're working with other people and you're like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
it. Like
What?
that, what are you talking
What?
about?
What? You want to change? It's absurd.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, so you started working on Goosebumps, was it 1992? It was early 90s, am I right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Actually, it was yeah, it was not. It was late in '92. No, it
Okay.
was early in '92. The book came out in July of '92,
Wow.
but I think I painted the first cover like in December of '91. Don't hold
Okay.
me to that,
Yeah.
but my memory was '91 was when that very first Welcome to Dead House was completed.
Wow, yeah, back in the winter. Yeah, I was wondering. So okay, let's backtrack. I'd love to hear how you got into this. So you went to school for art, I assume, went to
Yes.
college, yep. And then
Yep.
so how did you get on Scholastic's radar? Were you already working with them, or did you have some sort of representative? How do these people find you at this
So,
time, right?
yes to both of those. I did have a rep,
Hmm.
and we were working for the the luxury of living in New Jersey and being close to New York City is that's where all the publishers were in the 90s. And they were all in a 5 block radius of one another. So I got my first books by myself by knocking on doors, very inefficient.
Yeah.
Was able to get myself a rep after a number of years, and then that's his job. He goes around and he has all the connections, and then I get to stay at home and paint.
Yep.
And my rep Sal Baraka was his name. Was able to get us in a number of places, and Scholastic was just one of them. I had maybe done I, more than 2, less than 6 books for them, I think.
Yep.
Not a lot, and but
And were
enough to.
those were kids' books? I mean,
Oh
Scholastic
yeah,
book, right? Yeah.
generally kids book. Once in a while, they'll throw me an adult mystery
Oh, yeah.
or something. So, but for Scholastic, it was mostly the kids stuff. No
Mhm.
horror though. Adventure.
Yeah.
Did some outer space stuff. I did some fantasy stuff. So they had been used to working with me, and so when Goosebumps came along, I was kind of in between jobs. I was, I'm sitting on the bench, and the coach was looking for somebody to put in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, Jacobus here. Maybe you can do this.
That's great.
So, yeah. So I was kind of standing in the right place at the right time when the Goosebumps came along.
Absolutely. It sounds like it. You were prepared and you were available, and there you go. So now these amazing covers that you made, and I love them, and I'm sure many people have told you this. I love them because, I mean, they're so colorful. I love that you embraced color because back in the day in the 90s, we had your stuff and we had like Lisa Frank. Remember how colorful and
Yes.
trippy that stuff was? I loved all that stuff. And I loved, I mean, I've always loved horror, but I love that your images were spooky, of course. Some kids it might be, like right, this is the haunted mask. So I mean, I know you probably can sort of see it with the zoom filter, but I mean, it could maybe scare a couple kids. I was like, give me more of that, right? But I love that you embraced color. Was that your doing? Was that Scholastic? Was that a meeting of the minds with like going with these bold, bright colors?
So I was working with bold colors in general, and if you look at the very first cover, Welcome to Dead House, it's
Yeah.
rich, but it's not as rich as some of the color covers that came afterward.
Yep.
So what had happened was I did book number one, Welcome to Dead House, and a different illustrator did book number two, Stay Out of the Basement.
Okay.
And this was a guy named Jim Thiessen. Jim had a horror background, mostly worked in the in with adult books,
Okay.
and they weren't sure what angle they were going to take. So they said, "Ah, who cares? Tim, do you do one? Jim, you do one, and when we're done, the that guy will get to do the other two books because there was only supposed to be four books in the
Really?
series."
That few? How funny. Just a limited thing. Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it wasn't like this. It was a huge
Yep.
competition, or it was a very much a oh, okay, let's see what happens. And one of the main concerns with Scholastic is at the time, no one had put out a horror series for kids ages 7 to 11. So being too scary was that was right up there on the top of the list of, we got to keep this easy. We don't want to freak the kids out. We want to give them a thrill.
Right.
And when we got done, when Jim and I got done, they said, yeah, Tim's art's a little bit more, for lack of better terms, I didn't use, it's a term I use. They didn't say this, but my artwork is less realistic, a little more cartoonish, and I had used the rich colors.
Right.
So when they came back to me and said, yeah, Tim, you're going to do the rest of them, we really like those rich colors. Okay, that's all I needed to hear. And then I broke out my old color theory charts and stuff that I had did in art school and said, all right, what can we do here? And until they cry uncle, I'm going to come up with every different color theory that I can think of and
Wow.
keep them using that technique. So
Right.
yes, it was totally intentional.
Wow, it's amazing because so then that what's really brilliant about that is it's your idea. These are your colors and thoughts. Like for example, with like the next one, I'm looking at the list of books right here, like Monster Blood, the third book with the stairs, the green
Yes.
goo, right? So did they say like, okay, Tim, like, can we're thinking for this cover, it's going to be like something on the stairs, or did you just like
Yeah,
think of that,
RL
like,
was writing the book at the same time I was doing the cover. So
right?
he would give me a paragraph telling me what the book was about.
Uh-huh.
Um, when each book was different, I can't tell you if I got a specific note that said, hey, how about a staircase with the
Okay.
monster blood coming down?
Right.
Uh, I'm not sure. I don't remember. But if they had that idea, I would draw that idea up. But
Oh,
then I would always do two other sketches.
okay.
So if that one didn't float everybody's boat, here's two other ideas that are kind of along the same line.
Yeah.
Or I read something different into that paragraph of material, and I threw this third one in. So what's
Right.
everybody think?
Like a
So
whole alternate, like this is
right,
a
yeah,
left field
just
idea.
yeah, see
Yeah.
what we came up with. So there were always choices, so we weren't losing time. It really was a matter of, okay, here you go. What do you think? And yeah, the Monster Blood, the very first one was that one was fun because I did know that the Monster Blood was this green slime, and
Okay.
back in the 90s, that green slime
I
was
mean, with
everywhere.
Nickelodeon,
It
right?
was,
It was,
yeah,
yeah,
it
yeah.
was ubiquitous.
And I mean,
I
that's
said
what
that
I
wrong,
mean. I
but
have
you know
this,
what I meant. Yeah, there you go.
right? The Goosebumps
Yes.
logo. Now, did you work on the logo, or did Scholastic already kind of
No,
have that? Like,
that was done by somebody else, a woman named Holly Rubin,
okay,
who just came up with the idea, and I know they went round and round with it,
yeah.
and they kept coming back to her original concept and said,
Oh,
"The heck with it, let's use Holly's.
I
Everybody
mean,
likes it."
yeah, right. It looks so. I mean, I'm looking at all the covers online, like R.L. Stine, that Goosebumps logo, and then your imagery. I mean, it's just like it's a match made in kid heaven, '90s kid heaven. Are you kidding? Like I remember growing up in South Jersey, we had a closet at home that was toys and books, and I would open that door, and the Goosebumps books were straight ahead, and they were your covers and colors, and so I mean, it's R.L. Stine's story, but I think they say not to judge a book by its cover, but it's hard not to do that, with
Well,
your
yeah, when you're
great
10 years
work.
old, you 100% are
It's
going to do
it's
that.
all about the cover, right?
And
So,
I got to give props to the people who worked in the book design department because they would wait until my covers came in. And if you notice when you put all the Goosebumps books next to each other, they're always a different color
Mm.
scheme. The logo was a different color, the background was a different color, and they always pulled those colors out of the artwork so that it worked well with the piece of art that was in there, but it was completely different set of colors than the book before.
Yeah,
So, they leaned into that whole color theory,
right.
and yeah, they gave that the books a unique look.
Yeah, and that's a really beautiful collaboration because it's you're thinking of each individual one, and then yeah, then they can look at them all together and pull. Yeah, because I mean now I'm looking at the Werewolf of Fever Swamp. Do you remember all of these? Like, do you when
Sure.
I
Oh,
say that
yeah,
you yeah, I
absolutely.
figured, but
Yeah, they're
you
my
know,
children. Yes,
they
they're.
are right.
I have 100 children, but I know them well.
It's really brilliant how, yeah, like the green glow of the water in Werewolf of Fever Swamp, they pulled that for the background of like the logo up top. And it's just, yeah, they married everything very well. And that was fun for kids to see because no kid had only one Goosebumps book, right? You would
There
buy a
you go.
bunch, especially at the Scholastic book fairs that were like heaven on earth. It's like, all right, now I'm going to get these three. So you add to the collection, and we would see that it's like not only is every cover so unique and interesting, but then the little details around the edges like really flowed well. So yeah, oh my God, I'm like nerding out. This is so cool. We'll be right back.
The number one best-selling author in America, R.L. Stine, wants to give you lots and lots of goosebumps 3 different ways. First, Goosebumps books, where the terror began and the screams go on forever and ever.
No one anticipated the success that we got through Goosebumps. So yeah, at the beginning, there wasn't a budget to make new art to go on the VHS boxes. So heck, the kids recognized it from the book, so let's just take that art and put it
Right.
on there. So no, I didn't get any extra
It was, yeah,
money for that, but it just made it easier for you guys to go, well, is this the same haunted mask or is this a different version of the haunted mask?
yep,
And so I didn't have anything to do with, they didn't call me when they were making the TV show and ask
right.
for pointers or,
Okay.
hey, what were you thinking of? I got to enjoy it just like you guys did. I would
Yeah,
just tune in every week and go, all right, let me see what. I never anticipated them being live action. So, okay,
right.
show me what I wasn't thinking of. I was thinking 2D the whole time.
Right.
Let's see what 3D is.
Yeah, I mean, it was so, oh my God, to think, I mean, I'm just thinking back, Tim, 30 years ago, like being a, because the books, of course, were already out for a few years and still like very popular when the show was running, of course, that like to have the books and now see live action. I mean, I was just like over the moon. But yeah, I was wondering because, like, for example, like you created the look for Slappy, right? For Night of the Living Dummy.
Yes.
Unless they gave you like some really clear kind of like guidelines, like you created him and now I mean he is such a famous face. And then I can't remember, I'm pretty sure there was an episode of course about him. So yeah, it's sort of like they used your what came out of your brain as like that is the character, like we need to now create a dummy or whatever that looks just like this artwork, right?
Yeah. And, when I got the assignment, this is now in the very early days of the internet. So that wasn't where I went for my information. Whenever I was doing research
Hmm.
for any of my art, I would get in the car and drive to the county library and go get
Oh,
a book.
right.
And I got this incredible book about ventriloquist dummies, like the history of ventriloquist dummies, and, saw them from the late 1800s all the way up to the present day.
Wow.
And those early dummies, without them trying, were incredibly horrific. And I went, oh, you know what? I don't have to do a lot here to make my point. They're already stay close to what a ventriloquist dummy is. There's no need to get real, to exaggerate a lot. Just tweak it a little bit, and this
Yeah.
thing will be scary all by itself.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no need to really go above and beyond what already existed, right? Use that model and it's already, right? Pretty much done. That's cool.
Absolutely.
Now, how, okay, so Two questions. First one is, what was the turnaround time like? Like when they first sent you, when you booked the gig back in 91, 92, right? And you're working on Welcome to Dead House. I assume that first book, did you have a little bit more time to work on that cover, unlike the other ones, which might have been faster, or was it all kind of fast every time?
No,
What was
we
that?
were it was ready to go. So, they gave me, we had the books came out every month.
Hmm.
So, uh, we started a little bit early so that we built in a buffer.
Yep.
So we were probably 4, 5 books ahead of what you guys saw on the
Okay.
shelf.
Yeah.
Um, it took me, if we took all the time and we put it very linear, and on Monday morning, I got the concept facts from R.L. Stine, and then I spent 2 days doing sketches, and then immediately got a response, and then did the painting. I could do it in a week. The paintings
Wow.
took about 30 hours.
Okay.
So first part of the week would be doing sketches, second part of the week would be doing the final art. Now, you never got responses that quick, but it took me a week's time, but I had kind of the month to move in other jobs. So we were
Mhm.
working on other, and when Goosebumps picked up, then we were doing, calendars and,
All the extra
other
stuff, right?
stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, but a 1 week turnaround is what I needed.
Mhm.
The guy who had the heavy lift was RL. He's got to write that whole book every month and write Fear Street books at the
Oh,
same time
yes.
and not drop the ball. So
It's incredible. I mean, you
yeah,
guys were machines, but you're right. I mean, he was churning them out in just days. I mean, how? The
yeah,
guy, oh my God.
because well, I think we all kind of do that. If you have a skill,
Mm.
you go, "Oh, my part's easy because I know how to do that."
Right.
But I struggle to put, you know, a 3 sentence email together, and I'm going, "This dude's just cranking out books,
Yeah.
one right after the other." I have no, like, I can't get my head wrapped around it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so impressive. It really is. And I mean, as you know, us kids, we just were eating it right up. I mean, there was no way we were thinking about all the steps involved and all that. It was just like, okay, another one. So as an adult, it's like, holy cow. Did you ever
Yeah.
feel pressure or did it always feel pretty good? Like was there ever like a time where you're like, oh my God, I can't come up for air?
Generally, no. It was, again, you had to treat it respectfully.
Hmm.
If you thought you had lots of time, you were lying to yourself. But if you got up every morning and sat down, had your cup of coffee, back then I would maybe thumb through the newspaper for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Then at whatever time it was, you sit down and you start at that time every day. You work until lunch. You could stop and have a lunch break, and then you got to put in a full day
Yeah.
every day. And Saturdays were optional. Like, I worked a lot of Saturdays.
Yeah.
Sunday I'm taking off.
Yeah.
And so if you could stay disciplined enough to sit there, it it was okay.
Yep.
Every once in a while, we would go, take on that extra job. My rep would call, go, hey man, I know we usually do this many in a month.
Yeah.
Maybe we can squeeze another one in. Let's see what happens. And once in a while, it would get a little crazy. But
Yeah.
again, you know, I have all my family members are in the medical field on all different levels,
Oh wow.
and what they do matters.
Yeah.
I'm painting pictures of monsters. You can't really get that worked up yes, I want to be on time. Yes, I want to be responsible, but no one's going to die.
Right, right. That's a good way to put it. I mean, it's very important to many, many, many of us around the world. But I know what you mean. Yeah, it's kind of like, hey, this is fun. There's other people out there like doing life or death
Right. It's
work. So
serious, serious things. And when they do mess up, it means something.
yeah.
The only Goosebumps cover that really had a turnaround
Oh yeah.
was A Night in Terror Tower. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, with the executioner coming down the
Yeah.
stairs. So, like I said, I generally had that 30 hours spread out over the course of a week. And in this particular case, we did exactly like I just said. We squeezed in the extra book. And when it got down to it, it was due the next day. So I got up and
It's so
painted all
good. That's
day.
another one I remember very well. I mean,
Right. And
good
then
job.
painted all night
Wow.
and then finished it up in the morning. And because I missed the window to give it to Federal Express,
Yeah.
then I drove it to the city myself.
Wow.
So, it was a kind of a 30-hour run and just went, okay, this is what it's going to take.
Wow.
And I got it done.
That's
And what I
amazing.
like about it is it doesn't look strained. It
Hmm.
doesn't look, I would have liked to done maybe a couple of extra things in the background, but
Okay.
the executioner himself, he's exactly what I wanted. And so, yeah, doing all-nighters was something I've done a
Mhm.
few times over my career. But again, if you keep everything in order, those are few and far between
Yeah.
because those, they're fine. Everybody needs to do them now and then, but you don't just bounce back from those. So you're going to pay for it, down the road. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so stay on top of it.
Wow, that is such good trivia. No, I mean the cover looks like it blends in with every other one, so you'd never know. But wow, I mean that alone should be like a short film or like an episode of something.
Yeah,
Just
well,
right.
yeah, I'm glad there wasn't a camera there back
Oh
then, and
my
watching
God.
me pull my hair out.
Oh geez. And then you
I
drove it
pulled
in
it all
because
out for that job. But
right. Because yeah,
yeah,
this was all before. I mean, I guess there was email, but it's not anything like it is today. You're
no,
not you're not
no, we
attaching like
weren't
a
even we weren't even using email
yeah,
yet.
right? That was
Everything
still
came in
early.
with by fax,
Fax
lots of phone
and
calls,
FedEx.
answering machines.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
very.
wild.
It's even hard for me to remember that that's how we did things.
Yeah.
And now I sound like grandpa when I'm going, oh, it was back in when it snowed and I walked both ways up to
Oh,
school. And
yeah.
but yeah, it was a different way of doing things. And
Wow.
um
That is so cool. So yeah, with FedEx, you must have like just carefully maybe put cardboard on either side of it
correct.
and wrapped it up and so
Yeah,
that
so
it's
that was one of the main reasons I chose to do acrylic paintings because they dry almost instantly, and
okay.
once they're dry, they're almost damage proof.
Hmm.
They can take, you can rub, you can touch, you can do a lot of things. So yeah, there would be the illustration board, like a heavy cardboard paper, and then I would go get refrigerator boxes from the appliance store down the street and just cut them up.
Wow.
Got to be very friendly with the people at the Federal Express building because I was always getting there
Yeah.
just before they locked the doors.
Wow.
And
They're like, there's Tim. All right.
after a while, they're going, what are you doing? And then
Wow.
I explained what I was doing, and then they went, oh, okay. Well, if it really gets tight, we lock this door first. But if the door is locked, you can drive around the back of the building, and we keep the garage doors open for an extra 10 minutes. So you can come in and hand it in, and we'll take it from you.
Oh,
So, but he goes, don't be spreading the word on
right, right.
coming in the
That's
back door.
that's like Goosebumps VIPs
That's
only.
it.
Go
Exactly.
right. That
Exactly.
that must have been so cool for them to be like, oh, you're that guy. Oh,
I
well,
know you got to remember,
yeah,
like if you weren't 10 years old,
yeah,
it didn't mean anything. And, I just said I was a book illustrator. That
right.
that was impressive enough to
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
But no, to say Goosebumps, like
yeah.
it caught on way later. Like
Later.
the adults, you would have to have kids,
Yep,
and
yep.
they'd have to be that age for you to go, oh, I know what this is.
Right. You're so right. Oh my gosh. See, yeah, I mean, the second it was out, it's just been part of my life. But you're right. I mean, adults who weren't around kids, they'd be like, okay, Goose, what? Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Fox Kids Library brings the most popular books to life in the most thrilling, spine-tingling series ever. Goosebumps, coming this fall to Fox Kids.
can you walk me through the actual process of making this? So you mentioned, would you sketch out, like actually hand draw with like pen and paper or pencil and paper, like your sort of samples for them? Is that how
Yes.
it started? And then once everyone agrees on the right one, would you use then your sketch and then like paint over it? Is that like kind of your process?
Yeah, you're close. So I would get the facts from RL with the description.
Mhm.
So the first thing I would do are called thumbnail sketches, little teeny tiny
Oh, yeah.
scribbles, kind of like putting down bullet points if you were a writer.
Right.
And I would just start making them
Yeah.
and, just fill up pages worth and just don't spend much time on them. Just they're not for anybody to see. Ideas down, just getting ideas down. Think of it different. Oh, okay, we're doing a low angle. Let's do from the top. Let's try something from the side. What other characters can we work in here? Is it night? Is it day? Anyway,
Yeah.
after I would do a bunch of those pages and without any discussion with anybody else, I'd go, all right, I like these three. I think these do the best. And then I would draw them up on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper
Yeah.
with pencil and erasers, and you're just a standard drawing.
Yeah.
Reason they were 8.5 by 11 is I was then going to fax them back to the people at Scholastic, and then they could see, what I had in mind. The fax was terrible. The drawings on my side were pretty nice. What they
Right.
looked at on the other side, I remember going there once and going, "Holy smokes, this is what you guys are
Oh,
making your decisions off of? This is awful." But
wow.
it was enough.
Yeah.
And then they go, "Okay, yeah, we like sketch number two." I would then take that. The first thing I would do, the next thing I would do is I would take a smaller version of the sketch, glue it to it. I would take a Xerox of it and I would glue it to a piece of illustration board. And this is like 6 inches by 6 inches.
Okay.
And I would do a little tiny painting,
Oh,
not thinking about detail. This was where I was playing around with all those wild colors
yeah.
because what I didn't want to do is do a giant final painting, spend the whole day painting the background purple,
Mhm.
at the end of the day going, that should have been blue, and
Right.
spending a whole day fixing it. So
Yeah.
this was kind of a quick plan. What are our colors? What are they going to be? Get that all hammered out, and then go and start the final painting.
Smart.
Final paintings were on what is called a number 80 illustration board. It's relatively thick. It's got a little tooth to it. It's not totally like glass smooth.
Okay.
And then I worked with typical sable brushes, and I also worked with an airbrush.
Oh, cool.
Airbrush is, gave me that real slick, polished look,
Yeah.
real smooth, would smooth out my brush strokes and gave it kind of a digital look before we
Yeah.
knew what a digital look was.
That's what's so amazing, Tim, is yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it with adult eyes, but even kid eyes as well. It always looked in a good way, like it was, yeah, computer generate, like an artist on the computer. Do you know what I mean? It looked so smooth and that cartooniness was so, it just looked, I don't know how else to say it other than like it's so impressive that this was all by hand because it just looks so perfect, you
Well,
know?
thank you. I mean, that's very nice of you to say. The thing that did help me though was earlier on, I started painting motorcycle tanks and on vans and cars,
Yeah.
and nobody wants to see any lump or bump in your paint style. So I learned to work flat
Yeah.
early on and then just carried over what I had learned doing that. And it just kind of evolved into the style that you see on the illustrations, the
Wow.
book covers.
I mean, yeah, I'm looking at a shocker on Shock Street and that red background, the sky, but then there's some purple. I mean, it's beautiful. It's so cool. Okay, so then yeah, so you paint on the board once, and I think that's so smart and so interesting that you made like a little mini paint version first to mess
Yes.
up and right. So then once you and you said the acrylics dry pretty quickly. So yeah, once you paint the full thing, and how big was that
They were
poster
20
board?
inches by 20 inches.
Wow.
And then I actually painted with a hair dryer in one hand and a paintbrush in the other because I worked my work table was, not 90 degrees, but it was
Mm.
very vertical in front of me.
Yeah.
And I like to rest my hand on my art while I work. So I want it to be dry, and, we just hit it with the hair dryer and then paint with the other hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, acrylic is just wonderful for your ability to fix mistakes.
Yeah.
So you can cover any color with any color. You can, if you get too much paint on there, you can sand it with a piece of sandpaper. It's just no painting is unfixable.
Mm.
So where if you do watercolor, you get kind of one or two
Mm.
shots, and if it doesn't work, you're throwing that one away and starting all over. There
Right.
was never throw anything away and
Wow.
start over. We were all everything was salvageable and rescuable.
Wow, that's amazing. Because again, I wouldn't think that. I mean, it looks all so perfect that my brain would just be like, oh, I wonder how many times it took to get it just right. But that's so cool that it's
Yeah,
easy to,
your paintings evolve as you're doing them,
yeah.
and things are, you think you got it right, and then you step back at the end of the day and you're going, yeah, that arm,
Mm.
that doesn't look quite right. You're close, but we got to mess with that some more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, painting is is fixing problems until you go, all right, I think that's, or time's up. I wish I had another week, but I don't. So
Yeah, that's
let's
true. Oh
go.
my gosh. Yeah, that deadline's there. So it's like this is gonna have to be as good as it can be, right?
Yep.
Wow. Did your hands ever cramp up?
No, luckily I never had any carpal tunnel or,
Wow, that's
none of
impressive.
that, no, again, because I think because my artwork
Yeah,
was,
the angle.
yeah, the angle it was, I sat up very straight, I wasn't hunched over the desk.
Yeah,
And, maybe if I worked that way, that would have been different. So
right,
no, no, luckily no hand stuff. I mean, your eyes would get tired
right.
when I was younger and in the early part of my art career. I did real work. I worked on construction sites. I
Okay.
was a laborer. I was a garbage man,
Yeah.
so I know what hard work is. So I don't want to sit here and go, oh, it was so hard to sit at my desk and do a
Right.
painting in the air conditioning, and have a cup of coffee next to me. I'm
Right.
never going to do that.
Yeah.
So no, again, even now where I'm a little bit, I'm heading over the hill and I'm a little bit more banged up than I was many years ago.
Yeah.
It's still it's still fine to sit here and paint. I don't have to go, all right, I got to stop. My hands are cramping
Right.
or
Okay,
my
good.
eyes are blurry, or,
Yeah.
luckily it all still works.
Good. That's great. Yeah, what do you so okay, so obviously Goosebumps is what you're most known for, but we know you've done other cool things and everybody go to Tim's site because there's lots of great stuff. You have different samples on there. Like I love the two broke girls art that you made
Oh yeah,
for one of
yeah,
the
that was fun.
actors.
I haven't
That's
thought of
like
that one in a
some
while.
some
Yes.
custom work that you've done for
Yep.
people. So lots of cool things. What are you working on anything now? What is life for you now? Obviously a lot of the cons, but do you still make commissions for people? Do you still have
Yes.
your clients and everything? Yeah.
Yeah. What's nice is there's I so along with the illustration, I'm also an art director at a small company. It's corporate work.
Hmm.
It's what pays the bills. And then in the second half of the day, I still get to illustrate.
Nice.
What's nice is everybody wants the Goosebumps style. So I'm not doing Goosebumps covers, but
Mhm.
everything that I do looks like a Goosebumps. It's just showing up somewhere else.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And
So
I'm
yeah,
glad you're able to do that because I know maybe some companies might have said to you like this style that you're doing for us can only be for us. So it sounds like Scholastic never said anything
again, it
like
was
that.
so many years ago.
Yeah.
Nobody got hung up on style.
Hmm.
But just to touch on that, so yeah, around Goosebumps ended for me in
Like early 2000s.
2003,
Uh-huh.
2004,
Yeah.
and Goosebumps stopped for a short period of time before they started it back up again, and nobody wanted that style anymore. So it it was old for a short period of time. So I had to kind of reinvent the wheel. People were
Hmm.
like, nah, that's cool. We don't want to see that anymore. We want to see something else.
Hmm.
So what was lucky for me is that's when digital art was making big inroads. And I then went, all right, well, and I didn't do this voluntarily. I was told you better learn how to do
Oh yeah.
digital art, and so that gave my art a different. I had a whole new platform to fool around with.
Hmm.
I expanded what I was doing, not just doing books, but doing other things, and
Yeah.
yeah, so I was able to kind of leverage the success of Goosebumps and keep things going, but in a completely different way.
That's great. Okay.
Now, all these years later,
Yeah.
it's the Goosebumps stuff that people remember, and that's what they want.
Isn't that
And
fun?
so, yes, all my current artwork, if it could go on a Goosebumps cover, even though it's not a Goosebumps book.
Yeah, that's cool. See, isn't that funny? Because yeah, I feel like in the 2000s, I think, everyone just kind of wanted to make art, especially, or any kind of art, like they wanted to make that feel different than the 90s, right? But
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
right? Which
it's
makes sense.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
inevitable.
now where we are, it's kind of like, no, let's just like whatever we really loved, whatever really worked, let's just do that always. You know what I mean? And it's not
Yeah.
even just with book covers. It's why we get so many sequels of things, and it's just kind of like, hey, we love it no matter what. So you right, let's just keep riding that wave. So it is funny that like now it seems like in general there isn't really a major craving to like, no, let's do something totally with a different look. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
no, let's embrace what we have always loved, right?
Yeah.
So
And what's interesting is what I'm doing is showing up in different places, and people, the best compliment I can get is, "Oh, that looks like an old Goosebumps cover." That is a 100% home run to me. And if everybody says that, then they see my name on it, and
mhm,
people have become familiar with who I was. When you were 10,
right.
you didn't know who I was. You didn't know my name. You just knew my art. So it's nice now where then people look at it and go, oh, yeah, it is. It's Tim's work. No wonder it
Yeah.
looks like a
That's
Goosebumps.
your style, absolutely. Yeah. Now, with the work you're doing now, are you still doing a lot of like hand painting, or is it mostly all digital, or is it a mix of
Yeah.
both?
So I have a hybrid technique where everything still starts on my desk with a pencil and a piece of paper. I get my drawings very tight, and then once we all agree, yeah, that's what we're doing, then I scan it into the computer, and the color work is done digitally.
Okay.
But everybody, if I did a painting right now and handed it to a printer,
Hmm.
they wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that was, that ship has sailed. So everybody, if the artwork is going into production and it's going to be printed at any stage, I'm going to do the art digital for you.
Hmm.
Now, if you said, no, no, Tim, all I'm doing is I want a piece of your art and I want to hang it in my living room, and that's all it's ever going to do is hang on the wall, then that's the perfect time to go traditional,
Yeah.
because along with it being, uh, uh, well, you get a one of one. It is truly an original, and you can see that it's hand painted,
Yeah.
and then it's worthwhile, and it's good for everybody.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. Do you wish that 30 plus years ago, 33, I think is, probably when you were really getting started on everything. Do you wish what you have today you could have had then, or not necessarily in terms of like the digital, all of that, like you wouldn't have to maybe be running to FedEx all the time,
That's a
or, you
Yeah,
know,
that's a good question. Um,
or do you feel like,
No, again, it's probably best that it went the way that it went,
mhm,
because it forced me to learn how to do things a certain way.
yeah.
And then when I did make that transition in the early 2000s, it was like a second career. And it kept me very interested.
Mm,
If I was doing the same thing for
mm,
all these years, maybe it would start to feel a little stale. So
mm,
there's been enough evolution over the years where it's still exciting. I
yeah.
still enjoy it. I still it's the 3/4 of the way through an illustration. That's when I'm the most excited. That's when I
Oh,
go, yeah, this is working.
oh, I
This is
love
very
that.
cool.
Yeah.
And then there's a point right about the 3/4 mark, maybe a little farther in, where it's like, all right, now I got to finish it. That's all it needs to do is be finished. And, it's still, you get a little bit more excitement when you turn it in and
Mhm.
people then see it and get excited. But for me, yeah, it's that, early part, you're going, I don't know. I don't like this. This isn't happening yet. And then as you hit those later stages, you go,
Then you're like,
oh, okay, there
okay,
it is.
it's coming
There we go.
together. I
We're
see
all
it
right.
now.
We're going to
Yeah.
bring this plane in for a landing.
Yeah.
The master of kid suspense, R.L. Stein, brings your favorite books to life in an all-new Fox Kids television series. Things are not always what they appear to be. On Goosebumps, premiering November 3rd on Fox Kids. Watch it with a friend.
Yeah, one last question with the whole process. So yeah, once you send it off or to FedEx or you have to drop it off at Scholastic. So would you let's say you FedEx it and you're home and would you then later that day or something get a call from Scholastic saying, "Oh, this is amazing." Like would someone confirm that like it's perfect and we're moving forward or not necessarily? Like if they
Um,
liked it, would you just maybe
Yeah,
not hear anything?
it's kind of like no news is good news.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, the best thing that I could hear is I turn something in and I know that they've got the package,
Right.
and because a lot of times I'd send it to my rep and he would hand deliver it.
Okay.
Sometimes just due to the scheduling, I'd send it directly there, but
Yeah.
it's a big building and it would be in the mail room and take a while to get to the person.
Right.
But if a couple days passed and nobody said anything, and then I heard, oh, here's the next one, get started, that's perfect.
Yep.
That's I'll take that every single time.
Totally. You're like, okay. And so what would they do with the big poster board? Would they then like take a photo of it or scan it and then that then becomes the file for
Right.
the books, right?
Scanners weren't really a household item.
Yeah.
What there was a couple of incredible photographers in New York, and their absolute full-time job was taking pictures of illustrators' paintings. And
Wow.
they had a studio that was all set up with the lights, and we would all stand in line and come in one after another, and they would set it up. My art, again, we talked about it earlier. The finish was very non-glossy and it was very flat.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
I could photograph my own artwork, but if you get somebody who's got a very high gloss painting and it's done in oils and there's some real texture to it, man, that's a real skill to get the lighting just right so you
Wow.
don't get any reflections or hot spots. So
Yeah.
these people were super, super skilled at getting that photo reproduction of your art.
Interesting. So yeah, basically the covers that we would see and touch, they were a photo of your art.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
Interesting. Wow. Different now because now,
Yeah, the scans you can get on a cheap scanner
yep.
are incredible.
Yeah.
The quality of the prints that you would get other than that particular person who
Mhm.
did the photographs. If you tried to photograph them yourself or even a friend who had a good camera setup, they were always not very good.
Mm.
And because of that fact, most of us walked around looking for new work with original paintings in a portfolio case and taking them into art directors to show them what you could do. So,
Yeah.
our artwork was just thrown on a bus and carried around and banged up, and that was
Yeah.
just the way we do it. Where now all the artwork is either hanging behind glass or it's tucked away someplace and you don't touch it. And yeah,
Right.
back then we total disrespect for that piece of
Oh
art.
my God. Oh, that's so funny. Wow, Tim. Well, this was amazing. Thank you for all of your work and all of your info and your kindness. Where can people find you next? I know you have more cons coming up. What's next for you? Do you know your schedule?
Next con is in the middle of November, exactly a month from now, in Savannah, Georgia. It's a Galaxy Con in
Cool.
Savannah, so that will be the second to last con of the year.
Mhm.
And if anybody is interested in Goosebumps prints, Those are available at jacobusstudios.com.
Perfect.
And just as an extra hook to that whole thing, if you buy a print through our site, we take $10 from the sale of every poster, and we buy food for the food bank down the street. And we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. So thank you to all the people who have already bought. And the people at the food bank are very appreciative of everybody's participation.
That is so cool, Tim. Yeah. So you donate a portion of everything you sell, it seems like, right? From your
Yes,
site?
yes. So yeah,
Wow.
when I when I first set this up, I did the whole thing on the back of a napkin, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
went, yeah, I could. $10 is a good number. Eh, the food bank does way well, and I don't do so well on this, but
Oh,
I can't stop doing it, and
yeah. You can't, I guess you can't be like, actually, now it's going to be
yeah. Listen,
$8.
$7.50,
Yeah. Yeah.
$5.
Oh, geez. Wow. Well,
No, it's fine.
we want to make sure you're,
It
doing
works
well.
out very
So,
well.
okay.
It's something that my son and I do together. He's very helpful. So once he was helping, it kind of changed the overwhelming effect of it.
Yeah.
And but yes, it's very nice. I always think, well, at some point they're going to stop ordering them, and
No, I
that's
don't
just
think
the way
so.
it's going to go. And we're 5 years in, and every morning there's a couple more orders there.
That's
So
great. And
it's
it's not only the prints, you have sketches on here too, which are so
yes,
cool. That's going to be
yes.
something I'm going to buy next is these sketches. But you have a book, like a coffee table book, right? You're selling
Yes.
that of all
Yes.
your
Well,
artwork. Oh, it's
yeah,
sold out
it's
currently.
sold out as of
Nice.
right now. We're trying to find some past copies. The
Okay.
Make a long story short, the distributor for the publisher went chapter 11,
Oh,
and the
yep.
remaining books they're kind of disappeared, but somebody has them. I
Mm.
just don't know where they are, and if I
That's
could
the next
track that
Goosebumps
person down,
mystery is
yeah,
finding.
I'll buy them from them and
Yeah.
offer them back up on my site. But as of right
Wow.
now, there are no more.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, that's still pretty cool to be sold out of an amazing coffee table book of your work. So we'll see.
Yes.
Hopefully you get more. But
Well, and
yeah,
if you go out there on the internet, there's some
I'm
available
sure.
somewhere.
Right?
So yeah,
eBay or
grab
some,
them. Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Grab them all you can.
Someone's selling something for sure. Last question for you, Tim, and I'm sure you get this very often. So I'm going to ask a slightly different version of the question. Not only your favorite Goosebumps cover that you made, but your favorite that you were working on. Like you mentioned, three quarters of the way through, you're really feeling it. Was there one cover that you can think of that, like, from the get-go, you just were like giddy to make? Is there anything that comes to mind?
I like them all. The thing that was very fun about Goosebumps is, and I've used this example before, when you get on a series, like say I got on the Harry Potter series and I was doing the book cover for Harry Potter,
Hmm.
kind of always the same.
Hmm.
It's the same people. It's the same type of location.
Yep.
There's a familiarity or a similarity to it.
Mhm.
Every Goosebumps is new kids, new monster, new place, new everything.
Yeah.
So I always was as excited as you guys were when I saw the synopsis of what the new book would be. So the fact that they were all like I never knew what was coming next, and I
Yeah.
got just as excited. Um,
Nice.
Ones that I like the ones where right from the start I was kind of scratching my head. So RL's ideas and even the titles of the book tell you exactly what the story is.
Mm. Mhm.
Scarecrow walks at midnight.
Yep.
Okay, we all have a picture in our head, what's going to happen. A werewolf in Fever Swamp.
Mhm.
Got it. We know what we're doing. But then RL would hit me with these ones every once in a while where I go, so egg monsters from Mars.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what an egg monster from Mars is. Nobody does. I can't go get reference material somewhere. I gotta conjure this one up. And
Yeah.
those were the most fun because, first off, it's the first time we as a community get to see what an egg monster
Yeah.
from Mars is.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm right.
Right?
Like it or not, I'm right. So yeah, those were the ones that were the most fun.
That's cool, where you could really create something,
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Exactly.
we've never seen it in a movie or an old whatever. Yeah, okay. That's really cool, Tim. Wow. Well, thank you seriously so much. This was a blast. I'm so honored, and I know people are very excited to hear this. So it's going to be a really good one. But
Well,
thank you,
thanks, Mark. I
Tim.
appreciate you reaching out and doing this.
Absolutely. And you're also such a nice guy. You took a picture with me. I mean, like people, when you go see him at the cons, not only is he selling things and signing things, but you can get a picture with Tim and you're just, so it's very cool. Cause not everyone is so cool. So when a celebrity is cool, it's like, oh my gosh, so we appreciate you. We thank you for all of the good stuff. So
Well, thank you
thanks,
for all
Tim.
the kind words. Much appreciated.
Beware, you're in for a scare. From the pages of R.L. Stine's best-selling books comes a brand new series of Goosebumps videos. Videos that will creep you out, freak you out, or simply make you laugh your head off.
Oh, man.
What an amazing guy and what truly awesome work he has given us over the years. Thank you very much, Tim Jacobus, for not only all your great stuff, but for spending an hour with me and making life more colorful and more creepy. And thank you out there for listening to or watching this episode. Follow Tim at Tim Jacobus and check out his website, jacobusstudios.com, to see his gallery of work. And follow me too while you're at it, at Release Date Rewind, to see more footage from this great conversation. Stay tuned for part 2 of this Goosebumps celebration when I bring on another guest to deep dive with me into the show's premiere episodes of The Haunted Mask Story, which has been a fave of mine for 30 years. That episode drops very, very soon, so this is a real treat. Thanks Straw Hut Media, the You Run Podcast Network, Kyle Motzinger, and the Portland Media Center in Maine. And as R.L. Stine says, have a scary day, everyone. Bye.